He said I support you.
Hey, I didn't know he was live already. Hi, welcome to Speak the Truth. We are so glad that you're here to join us. There's so much to talk about, so much that's going on. But this is a day of rejoicing. I am so glad that Biden is now doing his farewell address, because I want to just say bye, Felicia. But anyway, when people come on, we just want everyone to know to show respect. You know, you can agree to disagree, and that's not a problem for us. But we want to make sure that people understand this platform is called Speak the Truth for a reason. And it's fine if you have a different opinion. We welcome different opinions, but you have to be respectful. So I guess you guys seen the title of this stream. It's all about wishing Biden a life after his presidency, because we want him long gone.
Oh, so he said.
What?
He said, "I'm here with Miss Cindy to school these fools. Me and Outlaw Joey got you always."
All right, all right. Yeah, it's gonna be on at 8 o'clock. Biden's gonna be giving his farewell address, and it couldn't have come sooner. And what we had to realize that this man has done so much to destroy this nation. He done burnt it to the ground, and guess what? We haven't seen anything yet. That we're gonna experience the repercussions of this administration this year. Everything that he has done is going to manifest this year. How terrible of a president that he actually has been. And he has the audacity to be trying to come on like he's been this great leader and like he's done something for us. But he hasn't. And it's amazing that Trump had told them in Gaza, he said that you better release those prisoners before I take office. And guess what has happened? And now Biden, all of a sudden, 2 months later, now he's stepping up saying that like he's accomplished something. Everybody know he weak. We know he didn't do anything. Go ahead. I want to find this. As we wait for this administration, let me say check out the latest episode with Sean with the guest Jane Doe. Okay, it's good. Okay. I'm gonna check that out, Tom. Thank you, Tom, for joining us. We appreciate it so much. And who else was on? Wasn't it Outlaw was on here? Yeah. And thank you, Outlaw. I don't see, but thanks for supporting us and coming on. We appreciate it. Right now, we're waiting. Joe Biden's going to do his farewell address. And if he doesn't say, he's going to take a stand like he's done so much for us, but he's not going to acknowledge what he's done to destroy this country. But as we wait for Joe Biden, I think it'll be interesting if we take a look at what happened, I think it was yesterday or today, with Crockett and with Nancy when they was in Congress. They were both going at it. So while we wait for Joe Biden, he's going to come on live to do his farewell address. We're going to come here. We're going to take a look at them. Got to wait for this to finish. I hope everybody's having a great day. And
hey, my name is Elijah.
And we're in the bathroom. We're in the walk-in room.
Okay. We got to go back to here. This was really interesting.
Is this fine? Any further members seek recognition?
Mr. Chair,
Chair, recognize Mr. Crockett.
I have an amendment at the desk.
So there's five. Will the clerk? Everyone has the amendment. Everyone has the Crockett amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please report the amendment?
This was so funny.
Government reform for the 119th Congress is offered by Ms. Crockett of Texas.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read. I reserve a point of order. The gentlewoman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Yeah, his name is Elijah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. During the 118th Congress,
now this was interesting.
Disbanded one of the most important subcommittees in Congress, the Subcommittee on Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. And now in the 119th Congress, the chairman and House Republicans have decided.
See, this agenda is over with. All this pushing transgender agenda is going to end right today.
Now we are about.
We're ending that.
The birthday of Martin Luther King. It's actually tomorrow, and on January 20th will be the inauguration of Donald Trump, but it will also be the observation of MLK Day. And the fact that we have decided that in this country we are not going to honor civil rights should be something that we all take issue with.
Now, Nancy called her out.
For some that don't know what civil rights are about, because some people only believe that
hey,
it
y'all.
deals with black folk. Let me explain.
Hey, Charlotte.
Civil and political rights are a class of rights that protect individuals' freedom from the infringement by governments, social organizations, and private individuals. They ensure one's entitlement to participate in the civil and political life of society and the state. Defined another way, the right to be free from discrimination, the freedom to worship as we choose, the right to vote for our elected representatives, the protections of due process, the right to privacy. If any of that sounds familiar, it is because these are rights that are born out of our Constitution. Something that
see, this
we all
agenda, this
supposedly
woke
have sworn an
administration,
oath to,
I'm
and
so
we
glad
swear to
Trump.
we don't just swear to
It's
it,
not
we are
big.
supposed
It's not going to
protect
come on until
those
8
rights.
o'clock. We're just on early.
Interestingly enough, we just had the funeral of one of our beloved presidents. And I caught a flight to Austin on the day of the funeral. And I had the honor of sitting next to someone who was a little familiar with the White House. That person was Lucy Baines Johnson. And when I tell you that she is a
Okay.
wealth of information,
I hear
I
you,
really
Tom.
mean that.
This is just important
And
what happened in
when
Congress.
we
A
had
lot
an
of people don't
opportunity to
pay
talk
attention
about
to what's going on.
what she experienced as her father was president during a time in which, honestly, our country was on fire. And I would argue that, unfortunately, our country is on fire right now. When I first ran for office,
Yeah, it's
I
on
ran
fire,
for the state
literally.
house and said that
California
we were in the
is on
midst
fire.
of a modern day civil rights movement, and I have not been convinced otherwise just yet. But this is the daughter of the president that signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
What
She
she's
was
doing,
also
she's
there when
defending
he
the
signed the Voting
transgender
Rights Act of
agenda.
1965, and to be perfectly honest, without that voting rights, I don't believe that I actually would have a seat in Congress. And so I do believe in preserving the fact that everyone should be entitled to real and true representation, because I do have a Section 2 seat as our Voting Rights Act has been decimated. But one of the stories that she told me was that her father asked her about coming over to the Congress for the signing of the bill as relates to the Voting Rights Act. Now, for her, it was a bit inconvenient as an 18-year-old to have to leave the White House and go over to Congress. And she asked her father, why should we go over to the Congress, Daddy, to sign this particular bill? And she said, we need to go over to the Congress because we need to pay due respect to those members of Congress that knew that voting for this bill meant that they would not be returning to Congress, but they had the courage to do what was right for this country and make sure that everyone's voices were going to be heard. The one thing that we could do, the very small thing that we could do, is have a little bit of courage and decide that we are going to reinstitute this particular subcommittee, because unfortunately, I don't see the type of courage that the people that served back in the 60s had coming out of some of our colleagues. And so I'm asking you to do
It gets really dicey. I love this exchange between Crockett and Nancy.
That would make sure that we are looking out for those protections of everyone in this country, to make sure that we have real freedom, something that we all supposedly espouse to believe in. And with that, I will yield. Mr. Chairman.
Two ladies, time to try any membership recognition.
Yeah.
Mr. Higgins, oh, Ms. Bates was first, I'm sorry, Ms. Bates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Miss Mason.
Again, I don't know what's going on today. I find it extremely rich and offensive. So we're talking about civil rights. I'm the former ranking member on the Civil Rights Subcommittee, something I believe in civil rights and civil liberties of all Americans. And we were talking about infringement of individual people. Also, quote, the right to privacy of individuals. Coming from a party that can't define what a woman is and won't give women the right to privacy. You
can't
all want
define
men
what a
with
woman
penises,
is.
Chicks with dicks in the bathroom with us. You want women to be forced to undress in front of men in the locker room and in dressing rooms, and it's so hypocritical for you to sit here and say and be screaming from the rooftops about right to privacy and civil rights when you don't respect women, and you don't respect women who've been raped, women who are victims of sexual abuse, and you want me, a victim of rape, a survivor of rape, to go into a locker room and be forced to undress in front of a man? You have to be effing kidding me. So I don't want to hear about you talk about rights, individual rights, civil rights, because you can't find the courage from the 60s to fight for women all around America. Fight for women like me, every single woman. And as a rape survivor, I shouldn't have to explain to you why women have rights and why women, when we're in the bathroom, when we're in the locker room, when we're in a dressing room, why I don't feel safe when there is a man nearby. And the fact that we're going here and we're going to say all these things is the ripeness of hypocrisy on the Hill. People need to tell the truth. And if we're going to talk about the rights of individuals, we have to talk about it. Everybody has rights, including women. And at some point, men are infringing on the rights of women. We just had it today. We just had a vote about protecting women and girls in sports. And I believe it wasn't one. It was two people from the Democrat Party who voted to protect women's rights in sports today.
Get rid of that woke agenda.
So this is, Mr. Chairman, this is a deeply offensive conversation to me today. We want to talk about real freedom. Women have freedom in this country. Women have the freedom to go to a private women's only space.
Yes.
And not see a man in it. Women have the right to change and not be feared that somebody with their sexual perversion, someone who's confused about their gender, we have the right to feel safe in these spaces. We have the right to know that we're not going to have trans people filming us in the bathroom. How many of these trannies are taking selfies? These women are taking selfies.
They're taking selfies in the bathroom.
Gross, it's disgusting.
With women.
So if we're going to talk about civil rights, let's talk about the rights of women in this country and how you are stripping them away.
Yeah, Nancy's awesome.
Every single day. And you're doing it in your legislation, you're doing it in your messaging, you're doing it on X. You're making women feel unsafe in this country. And you're...
It went off.
Yeah, they were going at it, but she did not. She didn't want any piece of Nancy. But it gets even deeper than that because they start really going at each other's throat. And it was amazing to watch them fight the way that they were fighting.
Well, Jasmine didn't say anything.
No, she
Nancy
didn't say.
Just got her.
No, she didn't say one word.
Yeah, she
but how do you come back for that when you talk about women's rights, but you're not supporting women's rights? You don't. There's no coming back from that. There's no coming back from that. So now, and then we have Biden. I'm so glad he's doing Biden farewell address after destroying this country. He has literally destroyed this country. And I don't know who's been talking to him or who's been lying to him, telling him that he's this phenomenal president. Now, here's someone that didn't believe in the, transgenders, and he didn't believe in LGBTQ. And it's like when they're in power, it's like they change everything that they have stood for their entire life. And what he has done, he's the worst president of the United States have ever had.
Yeah.
This guy has done so much to destroy this nation. And I truly believe that we're going to see the repercussions of this presidency with him and Kamala Harris.
Yeah, Kamala's the worst vice president.
She's the worst vice president. He's the worst president that has ever taken that oath for office, that has ever been sworn in. His obligation was to the American people. But he didn't feel as though that he had an obligation to do anything for us. This lackluster administration has put everyone ahead of America. Look what's going on in California.
What they said.
Well, we have the strongest economic recovery of any nation. Yeah, you know what? You ride with that. I'm just saying, you ride with that. But see, those are just talking points. They try to tell people that are paying all this money for gas, all this money for groceries. I'm like, every time I go to the market, it's like 2 or 3 times a week. It's like everything is sky high. You know, some places eggs is like $8, milk is $10. I mean, there is an economic problem in this country. So for someone to claim and to say that our economy is supposed to be great, but we're not.
Booming.
It's booming. It's Bidenomics is working. Maybe for you, but for the average person, Bidenomics is not working, hasn't been working, still isn't working, because their agenda was never for the American people. Their agenda has never been what was best for this nation. Their agenda has been opening up borders, trying to establish another voting bloc that would have kept them in office for years to come. But they failed at it. They didn't open up the borders because they care about
because it was in their hearts.
It was in their hearts, so they cared about, we need more people to pick the crops and things like that. That was not the agenda. They couldn't care less. The agenda was to do what they have done. Open up the borders, put these people in sanctuary cities, because when you have people in sanctuary cities, it goes by the electoral votes. They want to increase electoral numbers in these sanctuary cities. They thought they had a scheme and plan to win. And right now, they are planning. They don't take anything lying down. You best believe when she lost that election November the 5th, they already start strategizing. What happens is that we're slow to the game. We're slow to get on board. They're planning while we're in la la land, living our lives, but they're plotting on the American people to retain the White House once again. So they're going to say whatever we want to hear at this point, because it doesn't work. Their agenda doesn't work. I don't think any of us want to go back to men in women's sports, men in women's bathrooms, men taking scholarships from deserving women.
See, Jack and Anderson, they must be a man.
Just what you could read. What is it?
No, they wrote hate comments.
You know, so you can agree to disagree, and you're welcome, to have your opinion, but it shows cowardice and it shows weakness when you can't stand 10 toes down and you cannot articulate or express a thought without trying to insult or criticize. Like we welcome different opinions. We welcome, but what we're telling you is called speak the truth for a reason. But if you need to address or something you don't agree with, do it respectfully. That's what we ask. Do it respectfully. Don't feel like you got to call. That's what kids do. Call people names and try to do insults. And it's hard to imagine these are grown people with children, or people are adults. Adults. This nation doesn't just have one idea. Everybody, that's why you have different voting blocks. You have the Republicans, you have independents, you have the Democrats, because people have different opinions and people have different policies that they want implemented. But right now, Trump is going to be sworn in 5 days. He's been the president, it seemed like, all year, because this whole administration and the news media, they talk and they act like Trump's been the president. They act like he's the president now. He hasn't been sworn in, but all around the world, they don't even talk to Biden. They don't talk to Biden. They talk to Trump.
He's doing presidential stuff like Israel and Gaza.
They look over Biden. Biden is just decoration. Biden has never been president. Can someone in the chat please tell me who's actually been running this country? Because I can't believe that Biden and Harris have been actually well, the way that, the outcome of it, maybe they have been running it, but they don't even seem like they're in tune or with the office that they're holding. So who's running the country? Obama? You're saying Obama? Yeah, maybe that's why he has all that gray hair. Because I was like, how is he looking so stressed when he's been retired? He's no longer the president. But Obama's probably running this country because they're all going by what Obama says. Obama was last to endorse Kamala. He didn't want Kamala to run because he knew she couldn't win. And neither could Biden win. Biden's running around talking about, oh, I could have beaten Trump and Kamala could have beaten Trump. Guess what? We had those elections. And guess what? Both of y'all lost. Those are facts. Y'all both lost. And he's still running around talking about how he could have beaten him and how she could have beaten him. And they've been slapped into the next hemisphere. They haven't won anything. This election was too big to rig. And I thank God for that. Because it doesn't, to have people in leadership that don't really care about the American people, that don't care about the American people.
Get a lot of hate comments.
That don't care about the American people, that they care more about what's going on in other countries. We're involved in 2 wars. Thank God that Trump told them they better, end that war before he get in office. And guess what? He put fire underneath them. Trump, like he said stuff to us, but Trump been on the phone making deals. Biden hasn't been talking to anyone.
Doug, you want to prove that, dude? Good evening, Essence.
Handsome Elijah. Hi, Essence. Can someone, prove to me that Biden has been this great, wonderful president? It's like how he sees himself. Good evening. How you doing? How he sees himself. Because this guy he's delusional. They already say he got dementia, but he's literally delusional to think that American people have been happy with his presidency. It's so much that we can talk about and so much that we can criticize him about because he's been an absent president. He's been absent. How are you president of the United States and 40% of your presidency has been on vacation? I think he owes us some money. 40% of the presidency he has spent on vacation.
Bobby, how's that true?
What did he say?
He said, he's been hating the whole time. He said, you definitely don't know what you're talking about. Why did they just now have a ceasefire in Gaza?
You think that was Biden? You think that Biden got on the phone? Like, this been going on for 2 months. Trump said they better end it before he come in office. Guess who's been on the phone with them? Trump been on the phone with them. They're talking to Trump. Who's been talking to Biden? What deal do you think? Biden is reading a teleprompter. Biden hasn't made any deals because half the time he can't even put sentences together. So he's not making any deals. He hasn't done anything. He never even tried to end this war. But people don't want that smoke from Trump. Trump is a real boss, and he knows how to talk to him. The way he presents himself to us for the media, I believe it's a whole different ballgame behind the scenes, how he get people lined up and in order. Because he knows how to do business, and he knows how to do the deals. Biden is not presidential. Biden, he's pitiful. Biden is horrible. That was the worst thing that happened to America, is when we elected Biden. It's the worst thing that have happened to us. He should be going on any minute now. And we're going to go. He's going to do his farewell address after destroying this country for the last 4 years. I would just want to say bye, Felicia. Hasta luego, hasta la vista, ciao, adios, goodbye. He's horrible. And the worst part about it is that I actually voted for him in last election, but I had no idea that this man was a leader and that he was suffering from dementia, something that they kept from the American people.
Yeah, you're not watching someone that doesn't know about the Democratic Party. She was one of the biggest supporters of the Democrats. And she voted for Joe Biden.
And Kamala, because they were a team. I was sold on that Trump was this racist leader. You don't want him in office, and he's with the Ku Klux Klan,
Thanks, Tom.
and he's he's a threat to democracy. He's Hitler. Like,
She threw away my Trump hat.
yeah, I did. I thought that's what I really thought that's what it was all about. I thought that he was the worst thing because that's what the media was saying. This is what the media was presenting. And then I didn't realize that mainstream media, how influential they are. They really are. Because they had people like myself that was involved in it as a legislative director. Put together huge rallies. Met all the candidates, Biden included. I have videos with me, Biden. I have so many different fairs. I've been with the current president of the United States and President Obama and different congressional leaders. I was all in the mix, going to Washington and just representing, my company or whatever. But, I didn't know that he was responsible, the author for mass incarceration of Black people with that 1994 crime bill.
Yeah.
And if I had known that, I would have been really campaigning against him because no Black person should have ever have voted for this man or Kamala. Neither one of them. But it didn't happen this time. This time, I was all about, Trump, 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 Trump. I have mad respect for him because I believe that he actually cares about this country. And one thing I want to be clear, I'm not saying that everything he does is right or everything Trump says is right. It's not like that. You hold any of your leaders, you hold them accountable. You hold, like Trump is going to be, he's always held accountable. But how come no one ever held Joe Biden accountable? All the stuff that he's done, even to pull out from Afghanistan. How come nobody has held him responsible for the shape of this country? How about the open borders? How many of the news media have said anything in regards about this open border policy that had allowed fentanyl to enter into this country, the cartel, terrorists, Venezuelan gangs, 350,000 missing children. It's like 15,000 convicted rapists, 13,000 murderers. That's what they did to us.
All they try to do is hold Trump accountable.
That's all they do.
So you don't know what you're talking about, dude. You saying you think Trump is going to be accountable? LOL.
He's always accountable.
He's always accountable.
I mean, without saying, they're never going to let up off of Trump. They always hold him accountable. They've been holding him accountable, and he's not even the president of the United States, but they talk like he is. What is Trump going to do? And guess what? Those wildfires in California, they're not going to put that on Trump. The responsibility of that was on Gavin Newsom, Governor, what's her name, Bass. They're responsible for those fires. They didn't plan. They're supposed to be proactive, not reactive. All those people, they lost everything. And then they're going to offer them, like they did in North Carolina, they offered them, what was it, $170? I think $170, and you don't have no money. You lost everything. And what about the kids that need to go to school? Okay, he must be running late. Kids need to go to school. What about your drugstores? What about prescriptions that need to be filled? Some people are on medication, and they can't get their prescriptions filled. So it's a lot. When you have something as devastating as what has happened in California under the Democratic leadership, people are suffering while these people were on vacation or on the beach or not really doing anything for them.
40% at the time.
Yeah, but how do you give American citizens $170, but you spent $2 billion on illegal immigrants in California just for their health care? But you're going to give the American citizens $170.
Yeah, someone said, watch, they will blame Trump.
Yeah, they are. And that's why I speak the truth. It's going to be, every time they do, we're going to be fighting it back. Because everything this administration have done to this country, they're going to have to own up to it. They're going to, Trump, whatever he does, he has to own up to it. But they're going to own up to all of the mess and chaos that they have done to this country.
How do you think Joe Biden's office address is going to go?
Well, the thing about it, none of them are authentic. So whatever he's going to say, it's been rehearsed and it's been written for him. I just like to have a politician or someone just be able to speak without a teleprompter. Just to be able to speak. Is he
It's
coming
coming
on?
on.
Yeah. Let's turn and stop. Don't worry about that.
I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I
Sitting
begin,
down
let
like
me
he
speak to
likes.
important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, my administration, a ceasefire and hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas. The elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team, and will be
No,
largely
that's Trump who
implemented
did
by
that.
the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be, working together as Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people, from the Oval Office, from this desk as president.
Thank
And
God.
I've been thinking a lot about who we are, and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Long ago, in New York Harbor, an iron worker installed beam after beam, day after day. He was joined by steel workers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom. The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not by one person, but by many people, from every background and from around the world. Like America, the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage. She's on the march, and she literally moves. She's built to sway back and forth to withstand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below. An engineering marvel. The Statue of Liberty is also an enduring symbol of the soul of our nation. A soul shaped by forces that bring us together and by forces that pull us apart. And yet through good times and tough times, we've withstood it all. A nation of pioneers and explorers, of dreamers and doers, of ancestors native to this land, of ancestors who came by force.
People
A nation of
died
immigrants
because of you,
came to build a
Biden.
better life.
Oh, you hear him?
A nation holding the torch of the most powerful idea ever in the history of the world. That all of us are created equal. That all of us deserve to be treated with dignity, justice, and fairness.
My
That
God.
democracy must defend and be defined and be imposed, moved in every way possible. Our rights, our freedoms, our dreams. But we know the idea of America, our institution, our people, our values that uphold it are constantly being tested. Ongoing debates about power and the exercise of power. But whether we lead by the example of our power or the power of our example. Whether we show the courage to stand up to the abuse of power or we yield to it. After 50 years at the center of all of this, I know that believing in the idea of America means respecting the institutions that govern a free society. The presidency, the Congress, the courts, a free and independent press. Institutions that are rooted, they just might not reflect the timeless words, but they echo the words of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Rooted in the timeless words of the Constitution, we the people. Our system of separation of powers, checks and balances. It may not be perfect, but it's maintained our democracy for nearly 250 years, longer than any other nation in history that's ever tried such a bold experiment. In the past 4 years, our democracy has held strong.
No, it hasn't.
And every day I've kept my commitment to be president for all Americans.
I'm waiting for him to stutter.
For one of the toughest periods in our nation's history. I've had a great partner in Vice President Kamala Harris.
No, you haven't.
It's been the honor of my life to see the resilience of essential workers getting us through a once-in-a-century pandemic. The heroism of service members, of first responders, keeping us safe. The determination of
Yeah, he
advocates
exposed
standing
him.
up for our rights and our freedoms, instead of losing their jobs to an economic crisis that we inherited. Millions of Americans now have the dignity of work. Millions of entrepreneurs and companies creating new businesses and industries, hiring American workers, using American products. And together, we've launched a new era of American possibilities. One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our entire history, from new roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American. We invented the semiconductor, smaller than the tip of my little finger, and now it's bringing those chip factories and those jobs back to America where they belong, creating thousands of jobs. Finally, giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices for millions of seniors. And finally, doing something to protect our children and our families by passing the most significant gun safety law in 30 years and bringing violent crime to a 50-year low.
Yeah, and illegal
Meeting our sacred
immigrants.
obligation to over 1 million veterans so far were exposed to toxic materials, and to their families, providing medical care and education benefits and more for their families. You know, it will take time to feel the full impact of all we've done together.
Yes.
But the seeds are
We will
planted,
feel that
and
impact.
they'll grow and they'll bloom for decades to come. At home, we've created nearly 17 million new
Where's
jobs, more than
Hunter?
any other single administration, a single term. More people have health care than ever before. And overseas, we've strengthened NATO. Ukraine is still free. And we pulled ahead of our competition with China. And so much more. I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished together for the American people. And I wish the incoming administration success,
No,
because
you
I want America to succeed.
No, you don't.
That's why I've held my duty to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power, to ensure we lead by the power of our example. I have no doubt that America is in a position to continue to succeed. That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's the dangerous concentration of power
Can't keep up with
in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy. They just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to.
Oh, he's starting to
Workers
stutter.
weren't rights to earn their fair share.
Too much work.
Yeah.
You know, they were dealt into the deal. And it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen. We've got to do that again. In the last 4 years, that's exactly what we've done. People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules, pay their fair share of taxes. So much is at stake. Right now, the existential threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country, from California to North Carolina. That's why I signed the most significant climate and clean energy law ever in the history of the world, and the rest of the world is trying to model it now. It's working, creating jobs and industries of the future. Now, we've proven we don't have to choose between protecting the environment and growing the economy. We're doing both. The powerful forces want to wield their unchecked influence to eliminate the steps we've taken to tackle the climate crisis, to serve their own interests for power and profit.
What's he talking about?
We must not be bullied into sacrificing the future of our children and our grandchildren. We must keep pushing forward and push faster.
Sounds like you talk about
There's no
Trump.
time to waste. It's also clear that American leadership in technology is an unparalleled source of innovation that can transform lives. We see the same dangers of the concentration of technology, power, and wealth. You know, his farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote. 6 decades later, I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech-industrial complex. It could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is the most consequential technology of our time, perhaps of all time. Nothing offers more profound possibilities and risk for our economy and our security,
What does this have to do
our
with
society, for humanity. Artificial intelligence even has the potential to help us answer my call to end cancer as we know it. But unless safeguards are in place, AI could spawn new threats to our rights, our way of life, to our privacy, how we work and how we protect our nation. We must make sure AI is safe and trustworthy and good for all humankind. In the age of AI, it's more important than ever that the people must govern. And as the land of liberty, America, not China, must lead the world in the development of AI.
Oh my goodness.
You know, in the years ahead, it'll help to be, it can be up to the presidency, the Congress, the courts, the free press, and the American people to confront these powerful forces. We must reform the tax code, not by giving the biggest tax cuts to billionaires, but by making them begin to pay their fair share. We need to get dark money. That's that hidden funding behind too many campaign contributions. We need to get it out of our politics. We need to enact an 18-year time limit, time and term, for the strongest ethics and the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme Court. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress. We need to amend the Constitution to make clear that no president is immune from crimes that he or she commits while in office.
It's about Trump.
The president's power is not limited. It's not absolute.
Of course, you got to talk
And it
about
shouldn't be.
Trump.
And in a democracy, there's another danger to the concentration of power and wealth. It erodes a sense of unity and common purpose. It causes distrust and division. Participating in our democracy becomes exhausting and even disillusioning. And people don't feel like they have a fair shot. We have to stay engaged in the process. I know it's frustrating. A fair shot is what makes America America. Everyone's entitled to a fair shot. Not a guarantee, just a fair shot. An even playing field. Going as far as your hard work and talent can take you. We can never lose that essential truth. Remain who we are. I've always believed, and I've told other world leaders, America can be defined by one word: possibilities. Only in America do we believe anything is possible. Like a kid with a stutter from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claremont, Delaware, sitting behind this desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. That's the magic of America.
Oh, God.
It's
no.
all around us. Upstairs in the residence of the White House, I've walked by a painting of the Statue of Liberty I don't know how many times. In the painting, there's several workers climbing on the outstretched arm of the statue that holds the torch. It reminds me every day I pass it of the story and soul of our nation, and the power of the American people. There's a story of a veteran. This is a veteran, a son of an immigrant, whose job was to climb that torch and polish the amber panes so rays of light could reach out as far as possible. He was known as the keeper of the flame. He once said of the Statue of Liberty, quote, speaks a silent universal language, one of hope, that anyone who seeks and speaks freedom can understand. Yes, we sway back and forth to withstand the fury of the storm, to stand the test of time. A constant struggle, a short distance between peril and possibility. But what I believe is the America of our dreams is always closer than we think. And it's up to us to make our dreams come true. Let me close by stating my gratitude to so many people, to the members of my administration, as well as public service and first responders across the country and around the world. Thank you for stepping up to serve. To our service members and your families, it's been the highest honor of my life to lead you as Commander-in-Chief. And of course to Kamala and our incredible partner, historic Vice President. She and Doug have become like family, and to me, family's everything. My deepest appreciation to our amazing First Lady who's with me in the Oval today.
The nerve to say that when he got their
For our
soldiers killed in
entire family.
Afghanistan.
I know.
You're the love of my life and the life of my love. My eternal thanks to you, the American people. After 50 years of public service, I give you my word. I still believe in the idea for which this nation stands. A nation where the strength of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to stand guard. May you all be the keeper of the flame. May you keep the faith. I love America.
No, you don't.
You love it too. God bless
Swear.
you all. And may God protect your troops.
Bye,
Thank you for
Felicia.
this
It's
great
God's
honor.
name.
Bye, Felicia. I think they said, was this, you know what? I don't know if this was actually live or if this was pre-recorded, you know, because they had him sitting at the desk because they don't want him standing
Well,
up.
that was pretty
But I'm
calm.
kind of thinking that it might have been pre-recorded.
Yeah.
You know, that was the best that he could do. They probably did like 10 takes and probably edited, you know, throughout his farewell address because he just seemed robotic. Nothing was authentic. He was stumbling over his words.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta just follow it a little bit. Oops. Yeah, it just seemed like it was too scripted. Like if you spent 50 years serving this country, spending time in Congress, been the vice president for 8 years and the president for 4 years, and you simply cannot speak without a teleprompter and you're stumbling over your words and this was probably pre-recorded. I'm gonna
Yes.
find out. I didn't think about it till I saw someone in the chat said, you know, asked, was this pre-recorded? It didn't even dawn on me that this man might not have even been live.
Me either. And there was no emotion to that.
Yeah, it was just stale. It was stale. No emotion. Nothing was heartfelt. Just like he was robotic. It was nothing there. It was all empty.
And stagnant.
And then he tried to make it like this, that he had a wonderful presidency. It was awful.
And you saw what he did. He of course talked about Trump, but he made sure to say the one guy that he was talking about, oh, he comes from an immigrant parent. Like, why was that necessary to put
Well,
in there?
this is reasons why he's doing that because
Yeah.
Trump said day one, Tom Homan said day one that they're going to start gathering up illegal immigrants and the Democrats are going to fight them tooth and nail. And he's the leader right now.
Yeah.
He's the president. He's still the president for another 5 days. And or Obama's the president, but they have an agenda because even the mainstream news media, they're still pushing that agenda, that woke agenda. You know, and like want to take up for the immigrants while California is burning down to the ground. California is burning to the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would be shocked to go back to Los Angeles just to see what it looks like at this point.
And also the hurricane victims.
The hurricane victims. You know, how do you take care of the rest of the world, but when our people need help, that you're giving them $170? I mean, that's nothing. You're giving them nothing. That will not pay for hotels. It'll barely buy food. Like, especially if it's a family, that'll only be enough food for 2 or 3 days. But they lost clothing, they lost health care, they lost their bank accounts, they lost their jobs. You know, they lost everything. And I don't think people understand the effects of losing everything. That job that you used to work at for the last 25 years and you still didn't reach retirement age is no longer there. And they don't even know if a lot of these buildings will be, you know, built back, because over 10,000 have burnt down thus far. And that's not just houses, that's supermarkets, it's Walmarts, it's Walgreens, it's different businesses that have also perished in this fire.
I wish in that speech he took at least some accountability. He didn't say any of his mistakes or things that he didn't do good for this country and address that. Like, yeah, I wish I did this better, or wish I handled this better, or wish I did this differently. There was none of that.
I think
it was just all him saying, you could come here with the American dream, and everyone
but
has
we're not living the American dream.
Yeah.
You're going to tell people that they could come here for the American dream while Americans are suffering.
Yeah, and
it really doesn't make any sense.
And then he had the nerve to talk about the soldiers. He appreciates each soldier. Not those soldiers you got killed in Afghanistan, dude.
What about the soldiers that didn't die, that lost all sorts of body parts? One had his face blown up. There are a lot of soldiers that did survive, but look at the condition that they're in now. You know, it really doesn't make any sense at this point. And they probably did do a pre-recorded farewell address. And he couldn't even read the teleprompter without stuttering and stumbling over his words. And none of it was like
Genuine.
authentic. None of it was genuine. None of it was like moving. Like, for 50 years, you're going out like that. 50 years. You should have wrote that book like years ago.
You should have a lot to say.
You should have had a lot to say. You know, this country is in worse shape. What you're leaving, and what Trump has to do coming in is unbelievable. Like, what he has to fix.
That's why the picture we used for the thumbnail is absolutely perfect.
He set this country on fire. Yeah. He destroyed this country. That's why we did, you know, like my son said, the thumbnail. Because that's what he's leaving behind. And he said that in the future, we're going to see the effects of the administration. Yes, we are, in a negative way. The first way we're going to see them when they start trying to scoop up some of the illegal immigrants. Yeah. That's going to be interesting.
And then he, of course, had to say, oh, no one's above the law. Obviously talking about Trump. No one's above the law.
But his son was. How can you utter no one is above the law when you pardon your son? Not for 1 year, or his mishap that we know about, like the laptop and some of the other stuff, the gun charges, but he pardoned him for 10 years. They need to investigate Hunter to see what in the heck has he done that his father needed to pardon him for 10 years prior to this, you know, pardon him now. It's like, what is his history? What has he done? You know, when they start finding out about this crime-filled family, the Bidens, that's going to be the movie when we find out everything that was going on, because it doesn't make any sense. And then he's going to leave, and he still doesn't understand that people suffered through his presidency. You know, if you Gaza, you in Gaza, they were making out because we were funding the war. Ukraine is making out. What we get, $66 billion to Ukraine. He's still been giving money out the door. I'm just concerned what he might do on his last day. You know, how many other people you're going to pardon? You pardon people for ISIS. You're pardoning all kinds of people.
Thanks.
So what is he going to do on his way out of the door? I mean, his last day. because he's been really laying it out there for Trump. He's been giving him more things to take care of, and he was talking about we're going to have a smooth transition of power. That was a lie from hell.
Someone said a president can't destroy America.
Yes, they can. Joe Biden he's the poster child. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. What he's done to this country is horrific. It's horrific. And only person that can say that that's not true is someone that's not an American citizen. Because if you've been living here a while, you know the difference between a good presidency and a horrific presidency.
Yeah.
You know, when, just for an example, since you said one president, what happened when he opened up those borders on day one and removed 94 of Trump's policies? What happened to America that they start using an app, busing, flying illegals in, and they didn't care who came in here? What do you think it did to this country? Or was it a burden to this country? When you allow 12 million homeless people to enter this country, who's paying for that? This administration did that. Let's be clear.
Yeah, you see what they said, Fox News? They
What?
said Biden gives Trump no credit for ceasefire. Yeah, he gave him absolutely no credit for the ceasefire that's going on right now. He
Yeah.
took credit for it.
Yeah, like you have to look just from that alone, just allowing illegal immigrants to enter this country in a 12 million in the span of 4 years is unsustainable for any country. Because you had 12 million homeless people come in that needs health care, they need to be fed, their kids don't speak the language, so you have to have special tutoring. They're going to schools, and our kids are being left behind because they came out of a pandemic, not able to go to school. So they're already behind in their grades as it is. And then you got to provide homes, you got to provide food, you got to provide everything. They gave them laptops, EBT cards, everything off of American citizens' backs. And when American citizens are in trouble, what did American citizens receive in North Carolina? What happened? What did they receive in North Carolina? How did FEMA, did they come through for American citizens when they went through Hurricane Milton and Helene? What did they do for North Carolina? What did they do for Tennessee? They are not focused on American citizens. But if you're not American citizen, then this was a great administration for you. Everything was about everyone else. It was Lebanon. What did they get? $157 million when North Carolina were going through the hurricane. At the same time, they gave $157 million.
This was the greatest in history for you.
And you can see the example of the Democratic Party with Gavin Newsom. Here, the whole freaking Los Angeles is burning down, and here they are having a congressional meeting, a meeting to talk about how to stop Trump. And they wanted to get this passed for $25 million to fight against Trump while Los Angeles is burning down. They're going to ask for an emergency meeting for that, to pass that legislation to fight Trump. That's what was important to this administration, fighting Trump. Everything is fighting Trump, but nothing is about the American people, because you have to put your differences aside and you have to focus on the American people. Oh, I know. You have to focus on the American people.
That's what he says when someone asks him.
What?
About giving Trump credit for...
Okay, just started. We'll show. This is an example of this creepy, cringeworthy president. It's like when it comes to our people, like if Trump gets credit, for what he did with, this Gaza situation.
Just a short time ago.
Thank you.
Folks credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Look at this.
Is that a joke? Oh.
Look at that. How crazy is
All
he?
right. Well, incoming Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt immediately putting
Look,
this
that's your
on
president.
X. Quote, let's be clear, this deal would not have been struck without the forceful hand of President Trump and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff. Once again, peace through strength prevails, writes Levitt. Let's bring in Paul Rove, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff under President George W. Bush, and a
Deal
Fox
wouldn't
News
happen
contributor.
without
You see
Trump.
the
They don't make
response,
deals.
as President Biden paused and looked over his shoulder. Vice President Harris was sort of like a half smile at this idea that this happened because of the incoming president. And it's not lost on anyone, Carl, that this deal.
We all know
begins to
Trump
take effect
did this
on
deal.
Sunday, January 19th, the day before this inauguration. Your thoughts?
Well, success, and let's hope this is a success, has great many fathers. Trump's threat obviously played a role in this. To say that all hell would break loose, a pointed threat that Hamas had to take into account. But there are also other things at play here. The IDF has demonstrated an ability to degrade whatever military strength Hamas has been able to project has been degraded by the IDF, and they have shown a willingness to continue this. There's domestic internal politics inside Israel. The left inside Israel is strengthened its argument that there needs to be a ceasefire and that the hostages need to come home. The right in Israel has basically said we ought to destroy Hamas first before we worry about getting the hostages out. But the Netanyahu may be feeling the heat a little bit from the center and left of his politics. Hamas has some internal concerns. They have been demolished. They're on, the new leader is related to one of the former leaders. Everybody is getting at the top of that pyramid is getting killed. They may have said it's time for us to do this before we reach a point where there is no chance that we'll be able to hold on to Gaza. And then finally, both the Biden and allies negotiations, and then the role of Steve Witkoff, all of those probably help bring about the resolution of this at this point. Now, let's hope it holds until Sunday, but a lot of people are responsible for this. I think it's sort of unseemly that President Biden was not able to give credit, even a bit of credit, to the threat that the incoming president had set forth.
Yeah,
if you're in Hamas, you had to worry about that.
There was a moment there that could have been grasped for a bit of graciousness between these incoming and outgoing administration. He's going to speak again tonight, Carl, at 8 o'clock. It feels like this is a very long goodbye that we're getting, considering the fact that in July, when he dropped out of the race, we sort of heard the first of the farewells from Joe Biden. Your thoughts on tonight?
Well, for the American people, they've already said goodbye to this administration.
Yes, we have.
The president is leaving office, deeply unpopular, having demonstrated over the last 4 years an ineptitude that is pretty astonishing. We expected him to be a transitional figure. Instead, we got the self-proclaimed most progressive, most transformational president since at least Lyndon Johnson or FDR, which was a direct slap at his two Democratic predecessors, Barack Obama, for whom he harbors strong animosity for having been passed over in 2016, and Bill Clinton, who happened to be married to the person who snatched the nomination away from him in 2016 when he thought it really belonged to him. So this has not been a I think particularly productive series of farewells.
You know what? It's like I'm so happy to see this administration leave. And I really regret voting for Biden and Kamala last election, because what they have done to this country is inexcusable. And I hate the fact that it's all on Trump's lap, but he's the best person for the job, because if this was a transitional power to Kamala, we were doomed. We wouldn't have had a chance in hell to recover from this, his administration and then her administration. So I thank God that she mocked God and said that those young men were at the wrong rally saying Christ is King and Jesus is Lord. Because if she didn't do that and show her true colors, to show that she's not about, one nation under God, then we would have had the same problems that we have now.
Wow, look what Marsha said.
What?
They said this economy is terrible. Inflation is high, groceries are high, taxes increasing, insurance increasing, increase of 18% in homeless, and 42 million people on food stamps.
Wow. And how is America supposed to handle this when we're not even taking care of our own citizens?
Yeah.
And I feel strongly that I'm always going to take care of home first. I'm always going to make sure my kids are fed first, clothed first, that they're taken care of. And then I would help and take care of somebody else's kids and their needs and what they have. And that's what America is. America first. You're supposed to take care of America first, period. That's our tax dollars. We are the ones that elected these people into office. So you're always supposed to take care of home first. There's no other country that's going, you go to France or go to China, Japan, they're always going, Russia, they're going to take care of their citizens first. They are not going to neglect taking care of their own people. Ukraine is not going to happen. But that's what America has done. They opened up the borders and they said, come in, but it's off of our backs. And then when we have our crisis, FEMA doesn't have any money for the American people. They don't. And then they said, okay, call. And they're telling California the same thing they did with North Carolina. They say call and then they'll at least get the $170, I believe. But guess what? They say they call it all being denied because the money isn't there. They have drained the money with the illegal immigrants. They came first in this country. What's going on? If you go to New York, visit New York, it's Gotham City. And I'll keep saying that without Batman. Some of our cities, you go to Los Angeles prior to the fires, it's like a third world country there. That's what they have done to the United States. The threats that we didn't have to be concerned about, there's a concern now because you opened up the border. Okay. You didn't get the best of the best. You didn't vet the people. So you just opened up because you wanted power. You didn't care about these people coming in. They don't care about them. They wanted to use them. They wanted another voting bloc.
But that shows you that's not a true leader, because a true leader shows accountability, and Biden showed absolutely none.
And that's what I've been saying, in previous videos, that as a leader, you're supposed to stand 10 toes down, and you should be able to admit when you're wrong and say, you know what, I could have had a better, presidency. I should have focused more on the American people. But they had the news media convincing everybody to be focused on the wrong things, like the LGBTQ community. That's what they want to do. They want to talk about abortion. They want to talk about things that while the American people are saying, well, this inflation is too high, the economy is going crazy.
Women's rights.
Women's rights include also being able to feed your children. Women's rights also should be able to have a job that you're not going to get laid off because the company is closing, because they can't sustain keeping the company open. It's a lot of companies that are closing down. Macy's, they're closing everywhere. All these big brand stores, they're closing stores left and right. That's what's going on. There's going to be a lot more unemployed people in Trump's administration because of this current presidency. They have crippled America is what they have done. They have crippled America, forgot about American citizens, and that's why they have gotten voted out of office. That's why they will not regain office unless they come with their lies again and they start trying to talk like the Republicans. Because people are not having it. They don't want men and women's sports. That's a fact. They don't want women to have to compete against men to try to get scholarships. And the men that say they transgender, that that they're a girl now, they don't want to compete against other men because they can't win. So they're going to come over to the woman's side, 6'4". They always 6'4" and taller. And now they're going to walk around because they say they identify. They're supposed to be able to go in the locker room undressed with all they stuff hanging out. It's just not right. But this is what they pushed on the American people. Like this election has shown that we're not here for it. That we see the emperor has new clothes on. That he's naked. We understand that what they've been doing has been a disservice to this country. And they still talking the same way. Even after Trump overwhelmingly won his election, we the people have spoken. And they still getting on these on mainstream media, still saying the same things that they were saying, pre-election. And it doesn't make any sense. So they can't hear us, and that's why you had content creators and people like myself and other people like Cash Jordan. Check out his videos. I mean, he'll show you what's going on in New York. Check out Nick Shirley. He's traveling even to Canada, bringing the news and showing how the people think on boots on the ground. You have to have people like that are putting forth an effort to talk to us. Because these people, they've done so much in everything Trump does. I promise you, it doesn't matter what, they're still going to find fault in everything he does, and they're going to try to be in the way. And we have to stop that. We have to make sure that we are speaking up and out and letting our politicians, our leaders, let them know what we want. And if you don't, do what we want, then we're going to vote you out. They need to be voted out of office because we're tired of this. They should be showing Cash Jordan and people like that. There's no skin in the game for them. They should be doing, he's doing the work of the media. And it doesn't make any sense. You can't I didn't even know that it was a such thing as fake news until Biden administration started wanting to fact check Trump. That fact checking started because of Trump. That was all for him. So it doesn't make any sense. And then the shape that they left this country in, and they act like he needs a pat on the back. He has destroyed this nation. This nation will never be the same. We're going to have so much stuff going on in 2025 that we're not going to be able to keep up with it. We're not. There's going to be so much going on. So that's why we're going to have to stick together. Remember, we're one nation under God. We have to keep that in mind, that we are Americans and we need to stick together. Just like the election time. Everybody came to vote to put him in office, Trump into office. It was Latinos, Black people, Asians, Native Americans, Indians, everyone, Jewish, Italian, everyone came together so that it would be too big to rig. Too big to rig. They didn't have a candidate that could beat Trump. And look at what he went through to protect us. He put his life on the line. So we need to make sure that we support him. Go ahead, what do you see online?
Just saw someone said that it's pre-recorded.
Oh, was it pre-recorded? You guys, do you think that his address was pre-recorded? Is that what they're saying? He was so robotic. Nothing's authentic about them. They cannot talk without a teleprompter, and that's sad that you don't have a thought of your own.
So he tried to take credit for what Trump did. He
Yeah.
also blamed Trump for this country at the moment. He didn't actually give a heartfelt message to the people. It's a robotic message. How did he get voted into office, Mom?
They lied. They talk about Trump a lie. They lied to us. They lied to us about everything. This man didn't even work. He owes us 40% of his salary for the last 4 years because they lied to us. They are the lies. Everything they said about Trump is what they are. That's how liars do. They cry wolf and make you think that it's the other person, but they were the wolves in sheep clothing, are the Democrats. They have done a lot to destroy this country, and it's unimaginable that anybody could do this much harm in a matter of 4 years. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what they have done. Trump should take credit. They know Trump behind. Trump is the boss. He got right on. Go ahead.
And now they're saying that Arab officials are saying that Trump swayed them more in one meeting than Biden did all year. So that's for Biden trying to take all the credit.
They even saying it. Who said it? Say it again. Because this sounds like it's coming from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, the Arab officials are saying that.
Listen to Arab officials.
Are saying that Trump swayed them more than Biden did in just one meeting than Biden did all year.
It's amazing. And then trying to take credit for the ceasefire like they had anything to do with it is even more. I mean, give Trump some credit. Trump told them that they better get him out before he takes office. And guess what they did? It's unbelievable. Is this the one I want to see? Yeah, that's what they have done. They're trying to take credit. He's going out, leaving the office like he got on the phone with someone. Who listens to Joe Biden? Is there anyone that listens to Joe Biden? You think that these leaders, because Joe Biden stuttered to them, like they like, oh, we better do something? It would have never happened if Kamala was president-elect. Yeah, this is coming just from Trump. And like Trump had a lot to say. I'm just going to put this on for a sec.
Was just announced out of the Middle East. Help us understand what his role was in making this happen.
Yeah, in Trump's Truth Social post where he said this would not have happened had he not won this past November, he credits his envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, a prominent American investor who had been working with Biden officials in the Middle East to get this deal done. Witkoff had met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu in recent weeks. And even Qatar's prime minister noted that the collaboration between Trump's transition team and President Biden's advisors and officials out there in the Middle East showed that America had a unified message and support for a ceasefire deal. But Trump also, in his Truth Social post, is saying that he, Israel, and allies will, quote, make sure Gaza never again becomes a terrorist safe haven, saying he would use this moment to build on the Abraham Accords passed in his first term. But certainly implementing the ceasefire deal, getting to a permanent ceasefire deal, is now on the desk of the incoming president.
And we understand that as Mr. Trump jumps back into the White House next week, he's prepared to issue more than 100 executive orders on his first day. What do we know about that?
Yeah, well, Trump is going. I can't wait till Trump get in office. We're going to stream that live, the inauguration. It's going to be exciting, and this is what America needs. And he's going to hit the ground running, and so is his administration. And this is something to look forward to. But on the flip side of it, I think that he's going to have his hands full. In 4 years is not enough time for him to do everything that needs to be done in this country. But we're not going to stay on. We just wanted to see Joe Biden, which was really boring. His farewell address. He didn't say anything relevant. He didn't accomplish anything. The only thing he accomplished was destroying this nation. That's all he has done. He didn't take accountability for anything. Nothing. It's nothing cute about cities that are burning down in this administration. He's making jokes about California, Los Angeles being on fire. So I have I wish him well. I'm glad that he's, these are his last days in office. I hope that he doesn't have any more surprises.
I don't wish
Because
him
when
well.
he attacks Trump, you're attacking the American people. And I don't think that they put it together that they're so busy trying to attack Trump, but you're hurting the American people. It's hurting us. And I don't think that they realize that the American people that did vote it that way, they're cheering them on, but you're hurting us. You're not hurting Trump. So, their actions are, they're so vindictive and they're not thinking about us. And that's what the problem is. I want a president, you help the rest of the world. God, we're Christians. You're supposed to help everybody, but you're not supposed to neglect your own home. It doesn't make any sense. Your kids are starving, but you're feeding your neighbor's kids, but your kids have nothing to eat. It doesn't work like that. Put America first. And then you branch out to the rest of the world. But this administration did the opposite. They helped everyone else except for the American people. They didn't do anything for us, but caused us grief. And now we got to deal with the repercussions of this horrific administration, which was the worst that ever existed. And that's sad. And if you don't believe it, just hang on in there. Watch 2025. This day that I'm telling you guys, watch what happens in 2025. There's so much cleanup that needs to be done. And Trump, no, he's not a miracle worker. He's only going to be able to do what he can do. He's only one person. But what they have done, hopefully the next administration will carry it on, because there's going to be a lot of unfinished business that needs to be done. And meanwhile, you're going to have this mainstream media doing what they always do, try to blame him for everything, even when he's trying to help this country. Because he got nothing out of running except for 2 assassination attempts, them taking to court, becoming a felon, taking off they try to take him off the voting out of states voting blocks. They try to remove him from everything and do everything, try to go after his wealth. They have done everything to this man, and he's still standing.
And look at the Trump.
He's a felon now.
And look at the Trump effect. After Biden tried with them for over a year to get them to end the war.
18 months.
And just one meeting with Trump got them to end the war.
And he doesn't even want to give Trump credit. But it's
Yeah.
okay, because the American people know good and darn well Joe Biden, don't nobody care about Joe Biden. He didn't get on the phone after 18 months, oh, y'all need to end it. No. They said it themselves. They ended the war to end it because of Trump. That's what was it, the average say that?
What?
The average had said that they wanted the war to end.
Yeah.
Because of, Trump was coming to office, because Trump already told him, you better end it before I get there. And I like a leader like that. So anyway, you guys, we're going to get ready to get off. We just jumped on here for this. It was lackluster. You would think after 50 years that he would have been, it would have been more personal. It should have been more touching. It should have been, he's going out like a loser as far as I'm concerned. And, and he needs to really be locked up, all the things that he's done.
As a scumbag.
Yeah, they really needed to lock him up, because they have done a lot of things to this country that he's not even going to pay for, because they got excuses for him, but Trump is almost the same age. But look how Trump was dragged through the courts and never been able to rest, so we got to pray for our leader's health, strength, and that he, does the things that we need him to do, and we need to support him. And then when he does things that are not conducive to the American people, then you hold his feet to the fire. And that's what I didn't like about this administration, is that they never held any of their feet to the fire. No matter what they did, no matter what they say, even right now, they're making excuses for Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass in Los Angeles, so that goes without saying. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. We don't know we'll be on tomorrow, but we will be most definitely doing the inauguration. We're going to spend a lot of time on that. And we'll see you guys. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button and the notification bell, so you're notified when we do go live, because a lot of times we just pop up. But we love you guys. Thank you for spending your time with us. We do appreciate it. But yeah, we thought it would be more, this Biden doesn't really offer nothing, even in a speech. He doesn't. 50 years and you have nothing more to say but a script, and probably was pre-recorded. I don't even think, after it's been brought to my attention, I don't even believe that was live. That was so staged. Well, anyway, you guys, God bless y'all. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you. We don't know we'll be on here tomorrow. It depends on what's going on. We'll try to get the notifications out earlier. But this guy is, I'm glad. Bye, Felicia. I'm so happy that this nightmare is about to end with this administration, because they were not for the people. And their only agenda has been the LGBTQ, illegal immigrants, Gaza, Ukraine, Lebanon, except for the American people. Not even our vets that are sleeping out on the streets. And they should be ashamed of themselves, but they're not. This is what they do. And people are steady fighting for them, fighting for more of this craziness. People actually are fighting for this nonsense. But it's over. We're going to fight back this time. Stand up, fight back. That's what we're going to do. Stand up, fight back. That's what we, say, somehow saying, especially unions. Stand up, fight back, and that's what we're going to do. So anyway, you guys, thank you, and I'll see you on the next live. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.